the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we're almost in the playoffs. Technically not the exact playoffs. We're still looking at some play-in games here, but we are recording this on Monday night ahead of all that stuff, and so we're getting you some futures looks here for the playoffs. Still got some good opportunities to make some money on some futures bets with the teams that we know are in the play-in and already in the playoffs in the top 6 seeds in each of these conferences. So we're going to be bringing you a couple of those looks right now. We also are going to get into the play-in games right away with you as well. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel because we're going to have plenty of content coming your way this week as soon as we get into these play-in games and the playoffs. So we'll be bringing that to you all playoffs long. Like I said, still have the email newsletter as well. So you definitely want to make sure to check out the description of the video where we do have the link for that. So you can make sure you don't miss out on any of the action we bring you on Friday. Nice recap to the week and things to look forward to for that weekend and upcoming next week as well. So hope to see you guys there in that newsletter, but let's go ahead and jump right into your first look here, Nate, as we get into some playoff futures.
Yeah, I feel it's worth putting some money down here on the Bucks plus 160 or better, just in the hopes that Damian Lillard returns sooner rather than later. I mean, Shams had the report that he's going to return at some point, quote, but he's got a checkup basically to determine when that's going to be here in this series. And I'd say like in the hopes, but like you're not holding a dead ticket if Damian Lillard does not play in the series because you have the best player in the series and possibly, the best player in the East. I mean, right up there, the best player in the world, the way he's playing right now. As a playmaker, Giannis just like completely taking over down the stretch, being like, it's fine. You can get on my back. It's just add that to his game, which is just bludgeoning you over the head with relentless, attacking the rim. And the Pacers have had no answers for it for years now. He's averaged 37, 13, and 7 in his last 10 against them. He's a plus 81. And the Bucks, without him, were able to go 4-2, losing 6 to this team. As remember, I mean, there were a couple games where Bobby Portis basically just sunned them. Just like you're not built for these playoffs. Like, I don't care if you can run up and down the court all season. Pacers definitely, eventually wore them down. They definitely benefited from the Bucks wearing down and then the Knicks wearing down to have as much success as they did last year. And I think you can kind of look at their 8th best defensive rating since the All-Star break and be like, yeah, I don't really buy that. I mean, they had the 10th easiest schedule after the break. The Bucks had the 7th hardest, by the way, without Bobby Portis for 25 games. And they have a much better win percentage with him, of course, in the last couple of years here. But for the Pacers defensive rating in particular, they are giving up the 4th most field goal attempts at the rim. And they have been somewhat fortunate to say 2nd worst opponent field goal percentage on those attempts. And I mean, is it because Miles Turner is Rudy Gobert East, or is it because they haven't really played guys like Giannis too often who are just going to walk right to the rim and continue to score on them and then compromise their defense? And I mean, the Bucks they did have Dame in these 4 matchups with Indy, right? But they certainly won 3 of them and would have won 4 if not for a crazy Halliburton shot. So I just think it's a bit of an extra value here to say, like, give me the veteran team with the better player, and the hopes that they get their second guy back. In which case, I would favor the Bucks if they have both these guys.
Yeah, definitely. If they have both these guys, I mean, the plus money is at least something to justify anything you do with this, because, like you said, you got the team with the best player and the guy who has no real like comp on the other side that can limit him, right? Like the guys who even come close physically, maybe Obi Toppin, they're not the guys that you think of. Guys like Isaiah Jackson would have been super helpful. He's not around. That would have been definitely a guy you see get a few more minutes to help with Giannis at like 6'9" and a nice big body that would help out. But they're limited in that fashion. We've seen nobody like Pascal not really able to help. Miles Turner is pulled from the basket guarding Brolo. We've seen Miles Turner be the primary defender at times. Like we've seen them do a lot of stuff, and Giannis has still eaten. So that's what this comes down to. Like you're saying here is Giannis, and it probably will come down to like, is Gary Trent hitting some shots off of Giannis if they do just decide to just sort of go all out and stopping him at times. And I'm not too worried about the shooters that they have. I still think they have the guns to be able to do that. But sticking in the East with my first look here for a future, Like, just to take the Celtics to reach the finals, I'm fine drinking juice at -140. But if you want a way to also, I think this is a good bet. If you take the Celtics, this is adding the Tatum Eastern Conference MVP right now at +130, not going to get any better of a price as they make their way towards the Eastern Conference Finals and the playoffs, right? So this is a good enough time to take it as well. And like just starting with them to reach the finals, I'm really just kind of keeping this convo mostly to the Cavs and them right now. I do think that the Cavs meet, let's say they meet the Knicks, for instance. I'm taking them in that one. Let's all be a little bit cautious as much as far as like the Knicks just beating the Pistons goes. So I'm sort of keeping this conversation to the Cavs. And I understand that if there's a world where Dame comes out of nowhere to sort of make this team formidable, but I still don't think the Bucks are that much comp for them. So again, keeping this to the Cavs, you look at them on the season. Cavs are second, or excuse me, Cavs have the best O rating on the season, 8th in D rating. Celtics, one of the two teams that are in the top 5 in both, second O rating, 4th in D rating. Then you look at them head to head, right? And the 2 losses to Cleveland, they had no Kristaps in one of them, no JB in the other. One win for the Celtics of these 2-2, they were 2-2 on the season, was without KP as well. Every game that they played, Cleveland was at full strength. And in the one game that they kind of won reasonably handily, like not that scary of a win for them at any point in that game, they were at full strength as well. And I think they do have the guns on defense. And my main thing here is the sort of, I'll call it a detriment. I mean, Darius Garland, Donnie Mitchell defensively are bigger liabilities than anybody that's going to step foot on the court, or at least starter and maybe top 6 or 7 for the Celtics. Both those guys, bigger liabilities than like the top 7-ish of the Celtics here. Comfortably, I can say 6 as Papa Al comes out there. So yeah, I don't love the matchup there for them. The 3-point defense is the crucial part. And where is this team's strength? Down low. Right. That's why it kind of segues into the MVP combo, which is like Evan Mobley's guarding Jaylen Brown. So if these are the two teams facing off in the conference finals here, it doesn't matter who you put on Jason Tatum at that point, right? You're still just going to have a better matchup. Now, Mobley goes back and forth to a degree. DeAndre Hunter, better defender for a guy like Tatum than, say, Karis LeVert. So they are improved in that sense that they have like a few more options, like Dean Wade has been a guy called upon a lot to help guard Tatum as well. But that's not what we're talking about. That's not what you want, right? You want obviously much better defenders than that as the guys that you have on either one of the Jays here. So that's really what it comes down to, is those meetings. And as far as the MVP goes, like Tatum has clearly benefited from having a slightly easier matchup. 33.5 a game versus this team this season in 4 of them, including a 46-point bonanza, 10 boards per game, 6.8 assists. Do it all kind of man. And JB, while he's missed one of the games, still at 23.3 points, and his usage is at about 21% versus Tatum's at about 27.5 when they played this season. So it's Tatum's world. This is like clearly a leap that we've seen Tatum make. I don't see a world where he gets this thing robbed from him. Not that it was. JB earned it last year, but you can't do it twice in a row, I don't think.
Yeah, it would just kind of be awkward from voters if it is at all close to be like, yeah, 3rd time in a row, let's give it to JB, and Tatum's just like, what I do to you guys? I mean,
Right.
Porzingis is a candidate, I would say, because I mean, I would just say full stop. Like if Porzingis does not get injured and they have some semblance of a healthy Jaylen Brown, the Celtics are absolutely going back to the finals. Like there's no chance the Cavs are going to stop them. Nobody else in the East, I would give even a puncher's chance in a series against the Celtics team, which has just been kind of like picking and choosing spots and just waiting to turn up to 11 because they are absolutely terrifying. You're not going to beat them 4 times out of the 7 there. Pistons Knicks though, yeah, you mentioned. I mean, we kind of both have a similar look here. I'm just saying over 5.5 games, which is basically saying Detroit to force 6 plus, but you get actually a better price here.
Truth.
I mean, what you lose is the potential that the Knicks win in 5, right? But I mean, the Pistons. I mean, this is really about Tom Thibodeau. Just like when you work your guys so hard in the regular season and you don't have another level to go, the career playoffs record backs it up. He's 38-47 overall. He's 14-28 on the road, and only twice in his career has his team won in 5 or less. One was against Cleveland 2 years ago. This Knicks team was able to just kind of bully the Cavs. The other one was 15 years ago. So I'm not even going to really account for that. I mean, you're just not bullying this Detroit Pistons team. Like that is the last thing you were doing. They are so good rebounding. They have two bigs to deal with your, it's not the same Knicks team either. Like Cat is not really bullying dudes on the glass the way the Hartenstein and a healthy Mitch Rob were able to 2 years ago. And how much are you going to be able to depend on Jalen Brunson? I mean, to a degree. I mean, and he has put up great numbers against the Pistons, but like 40 to 45 points every single game 2 years ago. That is what the Knicks needed and last year in the playoffs from this dude. Like he just I don't know if he can be that dude again coming off an injury that was pretty nasty, the ankle, right? I mean, even if he is like there's going to be some close ones here for sure. The Pistons can definitely grab one or two at home. So, I mean, I do think the Knicks advance, and I think it's worth maybe looking at Knicks lose in the second round to the Celtics, minus 180 where available. It's probably worth the juice to say like they're going to get past these Pistons and then lose to the Celtics. But I think the Pistons will push them a little bit here and at least win two.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see the 5.5. I'm not sure if I just missed it on FanDuel, and I was looking mostly there, Caesars. But I mean, however you can play that was going to be the other point that I was going to make, which is what you closed with, which is if you can, any way that you can play the Knicks to win a close series and the Celtics to beat them in the next round, I would go with that. The other thing though is like if you're there's a world where the Pistons win this thing, right? Like here's the give and take on this series to me is that Detroit won 3 out of 4, but there's some big caveats that like there was no OG or McHale in the last one on the 10th of this month. Then in January they were at full strength. And that was still a good game. They ended up losing, and the other one was with no Cat, right? In December, so like some pretty big missing guys for the Knicks at times. I'll also say that like I don't care that much because the other thing bringing them down is Brunson's not Brunson right now. Cat did Cat stuff in the middle of the season, right? And it's really not been the same Cat that you can just rely on. Maybe there's been some injuries. I know there was some family stuff as well for him at times, so that's helped him miss games. So there's reasons to explain, but the overarching mess or takeaway from looking at Cat in the second half of this season is that he's not the same guy, right? So like, yes, there's these caveats that the Pistons that we should add when we say the Pistons were 3-1 versus them, but then even those caveats are sort of washed away when I think it kind of evens out when you think about the way the Knicks have been playing as of late. And since the All-Star break, it's a pretty big sample size. It's not the best one at times because the Brunson missed some time here and there, but I still don't think he's the same guy. So again, I'm giving this some credence to these stats where Detroit's 9th in net rating since the All-Star break. The Knicks are 18th. That ain't nothing, right? Especially because the Knicks have played some good teams. Well, that's who they're playing now. We're in the playoffs. These teams are good now. 10th in O rating for the Pistons. The Knicks are 22nd. And then really the other things here that like you chisel down a little bit more. The Pistons are really, really good right now at getting turnovers. They've gotten out into the fast break. There's a pretty clear correlation between Ausar Thompson in the starting lineup getting 28 plus minutes a game in the last run of the season there, and this team playing at a lot faster of a pace and worrying and dominating the fast break and the points in the paint. And again, the points off of the turnovers, because this defense is really, really good at forcing those, as that's what they're trying to do. Now, the best way for the Knicks to beat that would be Brunson to just be Brunson. Get to the free throw line. This team will give up free throws. If you're the guy at the top of the key with the skill set that Brunson has, you can get yours. But now Ausar Thompson's also guarding him. And a couple of those games that he went off, Ausar Thompson was not guarding him. So big X factor there for all of these things. I do think there's a world where like the Pistons cover or like could win this series. Not a really crazy alternate reality either. And the other thing here is like if you take plus 1.5, and this should be what I'm sort of bringing to the table here is like a little bit better than the 5.5. You can get plus money for Detroit plus 1.5 on FanDuel, I believe, and DK. And if you get that there, it's closer to like plus 150 for that. I do think that they can easily take this thing to 7 games essentially, and either that or win. So I think that's worth some plus money as well.
Yeah, I wonder if we are getting carried away a little bit with the Pistons, the regular season success, and with Bickerstaff, who I guess, we mentioned that 2 years ago, he was the coach of those Cavs, right? They got kind of bullied off the floor. So I don't know if I want to get too bullish and be like, I think the Pistons are going to win this thing or force 7. But I do think, that the plus 2.5 is good. And and certainly, I mean, we'll see what happens. If Brunson's really not out there being the difference maker that he can be, yeah, the Knicks are going to be in trouble.
Yep, for sure. Big fun ahead for us. I don't know if this is the year. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Until Tibbs is gone, we ain't winning a chip anyway. So that's all the time we have for these futures. As Nate can sit back and watch his Celtics probably just rip through the Eastern Conference. That's a lot of what we're banking on. But hopefully you get something out of these and get some of those futures bets down. Don't miss out on the other episodes that we have already going live as far as covering the 7-8 games here on Tuesday night in the playing tournament on both sides of the bracket there. So until we see you then, happy betting.